Okay, so you might not believe this, but the subject's come up recently on criticism. Like, well, what do I do if I'm working within a facility? My clients love me, they're getting great results, but my team is critical. It's not the whole team, obviously. It's usually like one or two people, or my boss is critical, or, I posted something on social media and I get so many haters. If anything any of us are doing is even slightly interesting, has even the most subtle hint of efficacy, there's going to be critics. Now, why are people so critical? I don't know. It could be maybe a bad upbringing. Maybe they're in the never-ending pursuit of the perfect confirmation bias. Maybe they suffer from superiority complex and inferiority complex. I don't know. Maybe they're poorly endowed and they're taking it out on you. I don't know the reason why so many people are so critical. What I know is two things. One, it's not worth the time and energy that we invest trying to figure out why do people do the things that they do if it's not helpful to us. The second thing about criticism, and this is what really sucks, is that even though it hurts, some of it is really good for us, because some of it, either in part or whole, is valid. I get criticism all the time. If you've been watching my videos, you know that criticism's well-founded, and a lot of it I very well deserve. And a lot of that criticism I take on board, and I actually work on myself based on the criticisms I receive. Other criticism is absolutely useless. It's by bitter people who are not trying to hurt you, but they themselves are hurting, so they become hurtful. Do you understand what I'm saying there? So before we go ahead and make someone the CIO, the Chief Information Officer of our lives, we need to discern the constructive from destructive and understand not all criticism is constructive, and not all things that are constructive need to be critical, but some of it is. So here's three things utilizing the acronym CIO that I use not just to help you, but I use this every day with myself, because I go through the same pain and suffering that you get when you get criticized for doing something you love, that you're attached to, that you feel strongly about. Because a lot of times the things that we're doing, especially in our industry, it's not something we do, it's a reflection of who we are. Antonio Damasio proved that the anterior cingulate cortex lights up every time that we have hurt feelings. So hurt feelings really do hurt, because the anterior cingulate cortex is also what mediates physical pain. So telling somebody, hey, just get over it, well, that's really bad advice. That's like telling somebody in basketball, says, hey, coach, how do I win more games? Well, you got to get the ball in the hoop more of the time. It's like, that's Captain Obvious. So let's get to the point. CIO stands for, when you receive criticism, C, is this person credible? I, what's the intention? And what's the ontology of this individual? In other words, what's their state of being? So let's get to credible. When you receive criticism, is the person that you're getting criticized by someone who's achieved what you're setting out to achieve? Do you admire this person? Do you want to be where he or she is? If not, well, who cares? They haven't done what you're trying to do, so they're not a very good resource. If you wanted to climb Everest, you'd listen to physiologists, you'd read books, yes, but who'd you listen to most? Someone who has summited the top and come back and lived to tell. That would be your most valued expert. Number two, what's their intention? Is this somebody who's just dealing with their own issues and they're projecting their stuff onto you? Or is this someone who really cares about you and is invested in your success? Now, just because somebody is invested in your success or invested in you doesn't mean they are by themselves credible. This could be a frightened peer, a frightened parent who things didn't work out for them. They don't want you to get hurt because they love you. So it's not that it's mean or malicious, but it might not be useful. And the third one is ontology. What's their state of being? Because if you've ever walked into a hotel and you have two people who are following the same exact script, does that guarantee that those two people following the same exact customer service script have the same exact customer satisfaction rates? Probably not, because they're both doing the same things, but who they're being might be completely different, and that affects the outcome. So when you're receiving criticism, ask, what's the credibility of the critic? Is this somebody who's doing what I want to do? Are they successful in an area that I want to succeed in? Because if you accept somebody's opinions, you accept their destiny, intention. Is this somebody who's trying to help me? If they're not trying to help you, well, guess what? They don't count. Or they don't count in terms of what they're trying to convey to you because it's malicious intent. Not everyone's going to like you. Some will, but some won't. So what? Next. We're here for the people that we can serve, that we can make a difference in their lives. We're not here for the people who have committed themselves to looking for every opportunity to be offended. And trust me, there's a lot of them out there. Don't let them derail you. And who's this person being? Are they of the same essence that you are? Because what didn't work for them isn't necessarily evidence that might not work for you, because you're two totally, completely different people, totally, completely different. Not too much redundancy there. So you can have the very same message, but what you put out into the world greatly influences what the world gives back to you. So consider those three things when you're trying to discern the relevant from irrelevant, the constructive from the destructive in the criticism that you do and you will continue to get as long as you decide to get up in the morning and do absolutely anything.